Hi, my name is Sarah Smith, and welcome to Iconoclasting with me. Today we have Julia Bocchese. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. All right, she is our resident SEO, Pinterest, and AIO strategist. Julia, tell the people what that means.
Yeah. So basically, I help small businesses be found on search platforms from Google, Pinterest, and then now like AI platforms like ChatGPT.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a very serious question, and you probably get this question a lot. Do people use Pinterest like legitimately to find business
Yes, a
people?
thousand percent.
Okay, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because that is a completely non-traditional thing that I'm hearing.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Pinterest kind of gets that reputation for being for like recipes and design, but it is a really good search platform for being found for other things. I just went on a business retreat last week, and one of the people there was a freelance book editor and kind of has some resources for other people who want to be book editors. So she hadn't used Pinterest in like, 5 years, but she still had her account. So I was showing her how to check her analytics, and she found that people were going to her blog post and pinning her blog post for her on Pinterest. Yeah, so she was like getting traffic from Pinterest without even trying. So there are lots of different topics that people are interested on Pinterest. So if you want to check out, you can check your Google Analytics to see if you're already getting traffic from Pinterest. But if you are in these like smaller niches, you actually have a better chance of growing really well and reaching people who are searching exactly for what you have, because there's a lot less competition. If you are like a food blogger or someone in travel or something like that, it's those are definitely hot topics, but it's also become pretty saturated. So you might actually
Mm.
have a harder time growing in those really large markets.
So Pinterest might be the answer. That's crazy. I
Yes.
never even thought
Mm-hmm.
about that for my
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah.
Wow. So Julia already coming in hot with that non-traditional take. Great. So tell me more about your business and also like tell me more about it. I have 1,000 questions just even from looking at your LinkedIn and
Yeah.
just, you know, peek behind the curtain before we got started. I dived right in. I didn't even tell Julia how we do this podcast because I had so many questions. So
Yeah.
hopefully you're fine. Just
Yeah.
going with it. Go in the
Yeah.
flow. So
Ask away.
your business is called Julia Renee Consulting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So it says also that you help creative and holistic businesses. What does that mean? And how did you choose that? Did that niche
Mm-hmm.
kind of choose you? How'd that go?
Yeah, it kind of chose me. So the types of businesses that kind of like fit into those niches, I work a lot with like interior designers and photographers, and then some, kind of like holistic wellness businesses ranging from therapists, midwives, doulas. I've also worked with like nutritionists who specialize in MS and like, just really specific businesses that might not like fit into kind of like a neat little box sometimes. So that's why I kind of like keep it broad with creative and holistic, because I never want to turn someone away who, is having a hard time maybe finding someone who helps their industry. Because there are a
Mhm.
lot of SEO people who might help like wedding photographers specifically, but they might not be able to help other people in the wedding industry. So I actually do get actually a lot of referrals from other SEO businesses who get clients who are inquiring, but they just aren't quite the right fit for the industries that they serve. So
Oh,
I haven't picked a specific niche. I kind of like keep it a little general, but it's just something I enjoy. I like learning about other types of businesses, and I never want to kind of just pick one specific industry to specialize in if I don't even know about other businesses that I could be helping. Like once I worked with a vocal coach, and that's not something I ever would have like really thought of like trying to target before. So that's kind of like
that's
fallen
so
into it.
how did you get involved with a vocal coach?
She found me on Google.
Well, eating
Yeah.
your own dog food, as they say. Amazing. Amazing. So tell me more about like what's your non-traditional I mean, obviously we're in a non-traditional path already, but it looks like you have your undergrad degree in
Mhm.
journalism with 5 minors.
Yeah, so in undergrad, as you might have figured out from this podcast, I'm interested in a lot of different things. I am also one that will make decisions kind of like based on what I'm interested in, even if it doesn't make sense on paper. So I went in to study journalism. I got into UNC Chapel Hill, and that's actually where my older brother went, and I toured it and was like, nope, this isn't for me. So I went to a small women's college that didn't have a journalism degree. So I ended up designing my own major. And then while I was doing that, I kind of just like learned about all these different classes and was like, ooh, that sounds really interesting. So I got really good at finding classes that overlapped and counted for multiple different things. So that's how I ended up with 5 minors. I think one of them I didn't even realize I qualified for that minor, but I had just like taken so many classes in that department that it kind of just counted. Let's see if I can remember them all. So there's professional writing, history, environmental sustainability, photography, and one in the political science department.
International studies is what it
Yes, there we
says.
go.
That's wild. And then
Yeah.
you got your master's degree, you said in history?
Yeah, to study the Viking Age.
Wow, specific.
Yeah. Yes.
That's I mean, did you okay, so here's a question. I was an English major in my undergrad and
Hmm.
everybody was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Teach?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a travel writer." And this was in like 2012.
Hmm.
I didn't do that at all. I fell
Yeah.
into tech. It was really weird. And so, like, when people ask, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Teach?" It drives me crazy. But what did you were you gonna teach with this? What was your end goal?
Yeah, so my dream job was photojournalist for National Geographic.
Mm,
So that kind of like
yes.
crossed over the photography, the journalism, the history, international studies. So obviously that didn't work out, but I mean, I still enjoy traveling and learning about history, and I do have a photography website. So kind of like made my own path.
Yeah. And so, like, let me ask you this. Have you ever had like a traditional corporate job?
Yes. So straight out of college, so actually, let me back up a little bit. In college, I studied abroad in Denmark, which obviously I was already interested in the Viking Age, but that also kind of
Yeah.
just like accelerated it. I met a boy who's not Danish,
Mm,
he's American, but we came from different universities. He was in Pennsylvania, I was in North Carolina. So after I finished my undergrad, I moved up here. It worked out. We got married. We have 2 kids.
okay. Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 13-year anniversary meeting in Denmark.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so we
cute.
did the long distance for a little bit before I moved up here. So I kind of just took whatever job I could get because I just wanted to move to Philadelphia because I had a huge crush on a boy.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and I didn't have like a network here. I didn't know anyone, so I applied for I don't even know how many jobs, and then I got one doing publishing or like editing for a corporate publishing company. So they would do like HR manuals and safety manuals for OSHA, stuff like that. So I was doing a lot of editing for that. I'm doing some like kind of email marketing editing, but it is as boring as it sounds. So it was not a very creative job. So I started a travel photography site as kind of like my creative outlet and something,
Hmm.
that was interesting. So with that website, I learned, SEO and marketing and social media and everything that I needed to do to help that business grow or that website grow. And when I was ready to quit my job, I wanted to go to grad school, like we said, to study the Viking Age. So I
Hmm.
wanted a more flexible schedule to be able to do that. So I quit that job and became a freelancer because I didn't know online business was a thing. I was just used to kind of like what you see on like Fiverr and Upwork, like standard freelancers. So I was doing a lot of content writing for small businesses. I was, doing all of the SEO work for those without them really understanding what I was doing or understanding like why they were all of a sudden getting a lot of traffic from Google. So after a
Hmm.
little while, I started to realize that they didn't understand SEO, but I did, so I could help their websites as a whole grow
Hmm.
on Google and reach more people that way. So after about a year of freelancing, and I was doing all kinds of odd jobs with that. I was doing like graphic design for an opera company. I was writing content for a sustainable toilet company. Like
Okay. I'm going to
toilets
Google
like
that.
for like RVs and things like that that will like compost the waste or
Fascinating.
yeah, so if you want more sustainable waste system they make toilets for that. So yeah, I was really doing
Okay.
all the like the most random jobs for the most random companies you could think of. And after about a year of that, I was more introduced to the online business world and realized that you could actually the business and clients could come to you rather than you having to like find all the clients and work on their timelines. Like you could create your own
Mhm.
systems, your own packages and things like that. So that's after about a year and a half is when I like really formalized my business, launched my website, and then that was also when grad school was finishing up, and I had to kind of decide if I wanted to go for my PhD or really go all in on my business. And I mean, obviously, I chose my business. I
Yeah.
have no regrets there, but it was a tough choice for a little bit.
As somebody who was an English major in undergrad and is now pursuing an MBA, I get it because I never thought I would do anything for a master's if it wasn't like creative writing or professional
Yeah.
writing or whatever it was.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I really want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, no, I have my own business and I would like to, learn more about businessy things and financial literacy around organization. So, but history would be really cool. I always loved history, but I'm not good with the dates. Like numbers just mess me up
Yeah.
on that stuff
Yeah, that's fair.
because because it's basically like a story with dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's crazy, and I just did you have, like, expectations? Like, did young Julia think you were gonna go through, like, go to the same college your brother went to and then, like, do the, 9 to 5 job and get married, have 2.5 kids, and, like, do all that? Or is it, like, were you just like, "I'm gonna do what I want, and I'm just gonna let it
Hmm.
we'll just drift," you know?
Yeah, I think I kinda went back and forth. I did have the, like, plan, like, I don't know, get married by 25, start having kids. At one point, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll be a stay-at-home mom," because, um, I wanted to, like, be able to, be there for my kids and, go to their school plays in the middle of the day, that kind of thing. I could not be a stay-at-home mom now after having kids. Like, I love them, but they drive me insane.
Truly, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's kind of worked out where like now that I have my own business, I do have that flexible schedule where I can
Mhm.
be there for, sick days, snow days, if, something comes up and they have events at school, which has also worked out because my husband is a doctor. So he
Yeah,
absolutely does not have that flexibility. So it's kind of
yeah.
nice, having one parent who, can kind of do whatever they want while obviously still working and making money and everything. But yeah, I kind of had that plan. And then when my husband, before we got married, he's in med school and it was going to be like a while before he'd be making
Mhm,
any money and, wanting to get married and things like that. So that's kind of when that plan like shifted. And I was like, yeah, we'll kind of
mhm.
see wherever life takes me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Just, I was kind of more of like the find thing I was very much like you in undergrad, like find things that I like doing and try and make that work for me, I guess.
Hmm.
And there are some really good transferable skills that come out of like having an English degree or a history degree, like one of those arts degrees, where it's like you understand how to communicate with people. You understand, like, I'm sure, especially with your minors, of like, you understand how to write, you understand, like, the history of things, so you understand how to find the reason why things are the way they are, like, why and geographical history too is really interesting, which I'm sure you know about, of, like, why structures are the way they are, like,
Hmm.
so it's all about marketing ourselves. So, you said that you were self-taught with SEO. How did you learn that? And I'm sure most of it was, like, trial by fire too with your own
Yeah.
site, but
Yeah. So I think
yeah.
just a lot of testing things out, figuring things out on my own.
Mhm.
I mean, definitely listening to like SEO podcasts, reading, the latest updates and, Google algorithm changes and just
Mhm.
kind of like keeping up with things like that. That, definitely at the beginning. And then kind of like as I realized this is what I wanted to like, really focus on, then, going to like SEO conferences and like joining more SEO communities and following, SEO experts on LinkedIn and things like that.
And so when AI, and maybe it's AIO, but AI
It's all
SEO?
of the letters AIO, AEO, GEO, AI, SEO. Like I just say
Yeah,
AI search.
that's fair
Yeah.
because, like, so SEO is search engine optimization, tell me if I'm wrong, right? And so when you're talking about AI search, it's like pulling you into those AI search results. So could that be like Google's AI mode in like LLMs, or what is that exactly?
Yeah, so like Google's AI overviews and then LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini. So if someone were to go to ChatGPT, one difference between how people are searching on AI versus like Google is they are searching much longer phrases and much more detailed. So they're not just going for
Yeah.
like, therapist near me. They're looking for like, I'm looking for a female therapist who is, a mother who has kids
Mhm.
who focuses in like, trauma informed therapy, something that's like really, really specific.
Yeah.
So if you obviously match what they are searching for, then that's when like ChatGPT or other AI platforms are going to recommend your website.
So, how does that change your strategy from like regular SEO, original recipe, into this new age of AI everything?
So there is a lot of overlap. So, like, doing things like making sure you're targeting the right keywords on your website, making sure that you have informative website copy because these AI platforms are relying on the information on your website. So, if you have one sentence on your homepage, like, that's not giving them enough information, especially for those like really long, specific searches. So, you do want to make sure that you have lots of different, information on your website about who you are, your services, who you serve. They are also really looking for results. So, like testimonials, reviews on other like platforms, like, Google Business Profile or
Mhm.
Yelp, or, kind of like whatever directories make sense for your business, like House for interior designers and builders, or the Knot for people in the photography industry. So,
Right.
they're looking for all these different signals that will show them that you are a business that's trusted, that, people,
Mhm.
find good value in your services and things like that. They're also looking for a lot of like different brand mentions. So, doing things like podcast interviews, guest blogging, getting featured on, local news or something like that. So it's kind of similar to like backlinks with SEO, but it doesn't even matter so much about the link as kind of like the brand mention so that your name, your business name is being mentioned in different places. So there's a lot of overlap with SEO and then also PR with AI search. So making sure that your business is visible kind of like everywhere. And that doesn't mean you have to be like active every day on social media on like 10 different platforms, but just making sure that
Yeah.
you are being intentional with, getting your brand out there and that, people are talking about your brand or you're doing, interviews or something like that.
It's really strange how AI has just completely transformed so much of what we do, even day to day, even if you're like, I don't use AI. I think you're inadvertently using it.
Yeah. Because I mean,
It's
everything kind of integrates AI now. Like every online tool now has like their own AI stuff.
I know I mentioned to somebody yesterday I have AI fatigue and they were like, "Well, it's not gonna get better." And I was like,
Nope.
"Well, I know." I was like, "I can try to be more of a human." Though. Did you do any like courses or anything to learn about AI SEO or SEO in
hmm
general? Is there like something you recommend if somebody is trying to learn more about that?
Yeah, so definitely going to SEO conferences because a lot of people are talking about it there now. I did some certifications with SEMrush and AirOps.
Okay.
The AirOps one was like I think, 8-week kind of like intensive course meeting like multiple times a week. So that one's like if you really want to get into it. If you
Is
really
that
want to
with
like,
Airtable? Do they
no, it's AirOps. Yeah, it's a
I thought they
separate thing.
okay. Oh, okay.
Maybe
Well,
they own. Yeah.
maybe.
Um,
I'm just curious.
mhm. I'll have to check that out. But AirOps, they also, even if
Yeah.
you don't want to do like the whole intense course, which it's free, which is good. They do
Nice.
also host like webinars
Yeah.
at least every month. So just
Wow.
like trying to learn from experts, especially because it's changing so quickly that you do want to make sure that you're staying up to date with all the changes. Like literally last week, Bing, what's called Bing Webmaster Tools, which is like Bing's version of Google Search Console, which if this all sounds like gibberish, it's basically Google like has a tool that's free that you can track your keywords, how you're ranking, how much traffic you're getting for and things like that. So Bing has their own version. And yes, people are using Bing, which really surprises me, but I get more traffic from
Yes.
Bing than Google now, which is like insane. I know. I don't know who uses Bing, but
Okay.
people are. Yeah.
Sidebar around Bing. Do you remember, did you ever watch The Vampire Diaries where they were like aggressively positioning Bing? Oh, did you Bing that
It's
instead
funny.
of Google it?
I know. I'm like,
Please
no
go
one
back and watch
says
a clip.
Bing that. Yeah.
It's a
I'll have to find that.
whole it's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, so like last week, the Bing webmaster tools, they added on to the SEO keywords with the keywords in their AI platforms that are like giving you citations. So essentially when your website, your business is being mentioned in AI results. So that like literally just happened last week. So that is AI is always changing. I think Google and maybe even ChatGPT are going to come out with their own tools like that because they want to stay competitive. And Bing and ChatGPT have like a relationship anyway. So I'm sure ChatGPT is just going to like glob onto Bing's tools.
Did not know that, and it's really
Hmm.
interesting to see how Bing is, like, repositioning itself in the AI age.
Yeah,
Did
I
not
know.
have that on my bingo card.
Your bingo card.
Didn't do that intentionally. Um, this has been so cool, and I really appreciate it. I usually ask, do you have, like, 1 to 3, things you can say to somebody who's either wanting to get into whatever you do or is wanting to take a leap or is just curious about going that nonlinear pathway, anything that really helped you as you were in your career, in your journey, I guess is a better way to put it. So anything that would help
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people think they have to have it figured out right now, like immediately when they start something. I think one benefit for me kind of like jumping in, not knowing anything is I didn't know what I didn't know. So that's why I started as a freelancer before like diving into business. But then that also meant that I could test out lots of different things and figure out what I liked and don't like. And I think that's kind of like helped me. I mean, I've had my business for almost 9 years. So like
Yeah.
people might get bored of, something after a year or two. So
Yeah.
kind of just testing things out to see what you like before you launch an entire business around it,
True.
I think is helpful. And yeah, just kind of like, test out different strategies as well. Like don't just, learn from one person, learn from like multiple people in whatever industry or skill you're trying to learn.
That's great. I really appreciate that. Well, Julia, where can we find you? Is it in Bing?
Apparently, you can find me on Bing. Yeah, so my website is juliareneeconsulting.com. You can find me on Instagram at Julia Renee Consulting, and you can find me on LinkedIn at Julia Bocchese, or you can just search for Julia Renee Consulting if you don't want to try to spell Bocchese.
It's not that hard. Well, this this was great. I really appreciate it. I feel like I could talk to you forever, and I have all of the questions more about this, but I will let you go. Thank you so much, and we will talk
Yeah,
to you
thanks for
soon.
having me. All
Of
right, sounds
course.
good.